Lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup.misfit. So I just finished filming part 1 and 2 of if I had to keep one, if I had to declutter one, which was basically me going through the eyeshadow palettes or brands that I have more than just one eyeshadow palette from. I had seen it from Deb's Beauty Diary and she inspired me to do that. So go check her video out if you haven't seen it. Go check mine out if you're curious. But as I was filming that video, I decided I wanted to go through the rest of my eyeshadow palettes, which means the brands that I only have one palette from, and just chat about them and let you guys know if that one palette that I have would make me want to purchase more eyeshadow palettes from that specific brand, whether it's something that they have out currently or in the future. So I have 13 palettes sitting in front of me. I am just going to do this all in one shot. It is a little bit less to chat about than my last video, so we're gonna get into this. No order, I'm just gonna start with what's on top and work through them all. So first and foremost, this is the Pastels palette from Beauty Bay. Now, I have kind of wanted to try those larger palettes. I don't know if it's a 16 or 20 pound palette. But for one, none of the color stories, like I think it was the Romantics or something like that. That one I was interested in. But just purchasing off of Beauty Bay alone, the taxes, the shipping, the duties, it always ends up costing me so much more in the end than I'm actually saving, even if they do have better deals than Sephora or whatever. This is the one palette that I did purchase from them, and I am happy that I have it. But based off of this palette alone, I'm not gravitating towards it. I've only used it a couple of times, but I do want to use it more to actually form a better opinion. And just from the amount of uses that I have on it, from how I'm not really reaching for it, unless Beauty Bay came out with something that I thought was just absolutely amazing, couldn't pass up, I don't think I would actually purchase anything else from the brand. Of course, maybe after I get a little bit more use on this and I have a better opinion of it, then that may change my mind. But as of right now, I think I'm okay with this being the only palette that I have from that brand. Next is BH. Now this is from the the Ice Cream Shop palette, and this is Sugar Cone. And I love this palette. Now, I really, really wish I was able to get my hands on the orange one. I think it's called Orange Sorbet. And then the pink and purple one, which I think is Cotton Candy. I love this. The formula of this is beautiful. I have not tried any other BH in the last few years. Like, I did have one of the festival palettes, but I didn't really like it. So currently, this is the only one that I have in my collection. And I don't know what the travel palettes or the brunch palette formulas are like. I've heard they're good. I was debating purchasing the Mimosa palette. I saw it at Winners and Marshalls, but I passed up on it. I'm a little nervous about what the formula is like. It was also Color Story as much as I liked it and I have been wanting it. I have so many that I don't need to right now. But if I was able to get another Sweet Shop palette, if I was able to get one of those two, especially the orange ones, I would 100% be purchasing it. Now, the fact that BH kind of went under due to bankruptcy or whatever happened, and apparently Makeup Revolution took over, and now I saw a video title by Angelica Nyqvist that Makeup Revolution might be in trouble. I don't know. I didn't actually watch the video, but the chances of me purchasing anything from BH now are very, very slim. I have never tried Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palettes. I don't even think no, that's a lie. I did declutter the ones that I had because I didn't like them. So I haven't tried anything in quite a few years from them. But based off of the very big hit and miss from that brand, I don't think I would actually purchase any BH from them just because I would be way too scared to do so. So this is more than likely going to be the only BH palette that I have in my collection from here onward. Now, I'm going to chat about Urban Decay. So this is the Naked Honey palette, and I love this palette. I don't reach for it as much as I would like to, but honestly, this palette, I can get the easiest, most prettiest, well, not prettiest, but the easiest, simplest, beautiful eyeshadow look using all of the mattes in here. Now, I've only ever used all of the mattes in a look, and I just love how it turns out every time. Like I said, I haven't used this in quite a while, so I would have to get back into it, but I was able to use all of the mattes, and I just loved how it turned out. Now, I've heard that this formula is like the better one. I don't actually mind this Naked collection. I know a lot of people are kind of really iffy about it or over it. I actually don't mind it. I did have the 2 and the 3, but I did declutter those. This one I do enjoy a lot more than those ones, color story wise as well. But again, formula wise, if I knew that the formula was going to be like this, and if there was a color story that I really, really liked, I would purchase another one. But because the formula has been hit and miss on these ones as well, I'm kind of iffy about purchasing another one. I would have to see what the color story is like, and that would help me determine, not necessarily make me purchase another one. But if I knew the formula was like this, I more than likely would. But realistically, the chances are very slim, unless there's something about it that I really am like gravitated towards and just can't let go of. This is probably, I want to say 90%, 85 to 90% chance that this is going to be the only Urban Decay palette in my collection. I really wasn't interested in the Stone Vibes or anything like that. I like this whole Naked collection. Like I said, I don't mind it. So I would probably purchase another Naked palette over one of their odd palettes. But we'll have to see. So next, we're going to chat Lunar Beauty. So this is the original Life's a Drag palette. This is the only palette that I've ever tried from them as well. The newer one that they came out with, I was not interested in, mainly because I had this one, even though there was an extra 1, maybe 2 rows, I can't quite remember. I really didn't feel like I wanted to purchase that one. Again, not all of their eyeshadow palettes have really been pulling me in. I do like the neutral one that they just came out with, or the most recent one that they came out with. I would like to try that because I do want to try the shimmers. Again, color story wise, I kind of, not that I want to get away from neutrals because I like having those neutral palettes, but I do want a little pop of something, which is why I wanted to purchase this one, because it has those pop of colors and it has the neutrals. It's half and half. I really do enjoy this palette. But I don't know if the formula is the same as this or not. This one is much older. So it would just be based off of color story. So as of right now, I wouldn't mind purchasing the neutral one. I don't even know what the name of it is. But if there was a color story that came out that I just absolutely loved and couldn't pass up, I probably would purchase another one. But as for now, I feel like this is going to be the only one in my collection for a while. So next I have my Kaleidos Astro Pink palette. This is the Futurism series, and I really wanted the Sci-Fi Greens palette and even possibly the bronze one. I can't remember what it was called. Can't get those ones anymore. So this is the only one that I probably will ever have in my collection, but I do want to try the, what is it, Shasimi City? I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. It's just the neutral one, and possibly even the Lunar Lavender. I don't think I'm actually going to buy them, but they would be ones that I would be interested in purchasing to try. I don't know about any of their other palettes outside of this Futurism. I was forgetting the line there. The Futurism line. I've heard good things about them though, so there is a possibility, but I do believe, like, realistically, this is probably going to be the only one that I have in my collection. Next is Uma Beauty. So this is the Royal Heritage palette. Now, I really was interested in trying the Carnival, not right away, but after I had purchased this one, or while I was like waiting to purchase this one, I kind of started to become interested in the Carnival palette a lot more, but it was out of stock. I don't even know if it ever came back into stock, if it's discontinued, that sort of deal. But I did have this in one of my projects, and I'm pretty sure the only shade I didn't use was one of these. Can't remember which one. Maybe it was this one, but there was one shade in here that I didn't use. The rest of them I have dipped into, and I didn't even realize it until I was doing the update for whatever project that was. And I did like this. So I did not purchase this full price. So if they came out with a color story that I loved, or if they came back with the Carnival, if it was on sale, I would purchase it. Full price, not a chance. I do think that this was like $60 Canadian, which is a little ridiculous. So there's no way that I would pay full price for one of these eyeshadow palettes. But if it was on sale and it was a color story or the Carnival because it was really pretty, then yes, I would probably purchase another one. this is Marc Jacobs. So I honestly was like really debating what to do when they were going out of business. This is the Stiletto Palette. And I got this one at Marshall's, no, at Winners. And this was the second one that I had. I did have another one, which was a lot more like darker tones. It reminded me more of Christmas, but I never reached for it. So I did declutter it. While they were closing up, I was debating purchasing one of the other ones, but just knowing that I never reached for this palette, I decided against it. And it was probably the smart decision. I feel like it's going to take a lot for me to actually reach for this palette. It is cooler tones, which is what I used to be into. Haven't been into them in quite a while, but I do feel like I could get some use on it and I probably would enjoy it. I just have to get there and stay there. So I am happy that it's the only one in my collection. I don't even know if they would ever be coming back with them, but I don't think I would ever purchase another one if the chance was available. So I have this mini Lorac palette, which I purchased around Christmas time last year. This one is in Winter Rose, and this is the only Lorac palette I've ever tried. I've only used it one time. For the price, this was $20 Canadian, and I would not spend that on this tiny little palette ever again. Of course, like I said, I had only used this one time, so I really don't know what the formula is like. If it was a larger palette, maybe, but again, I was never interested in the Pro or the Mega Pros or anything like that. So color story wise, this was pretty. There's another one, I can't remember what it's called, and it was very similar in color story, so I was kind of debating between the two, but I didn't want both. If the price was cheaper, I probably would purchase another one of these little ones just because I like the size of them. They're good for if I'm traveling somewhere or just to throw in my bag if I needed to for whatever reason and bring with me somewhere. For that purpose, I would like to purchase it, but I also kind of want to pan this because I want to see how long it's going to take to completely finish it. Hit pan in the shades and then completely finish it just to see if the $20 is really worth it. Because just based off of the size, it's not. But you never know. Things could surprise you. So this is a possible contender for Pen That Palette eventually. But as of right now, I don't think I would purchase another one. And then as for the larger palettes, I really don't know because I'm not quite sure what the formula is like. But as of today, as of right now, this would probably be the only Lorac palette in my collection. Now, Violet Voss, this is the only palette that I have from them. This is the Care Bears palette, and I really enjoy this. Now, I don't know if I would actually purchase any other ones from Violet Voss just because I've never really liked the other color stories that they have. I don't even like the full-size Care Bears palette. Their brights or whatever, like their colorful palettes, they all look the same to me. I think there was like the warm matte palette or something like that. I was kind of iffy about it. The Cool Vibes, I think it's called. Like that one was just a little cool tone for me. Formula wise, I wouldn't mind trying another palette, but it would have to be based off of color story. I would probably repurchase this specific one again to have in my collection, but I really do like it. I love the colors. I like the formula of this, but again, this is going to come based on color story and nothing that Nothing that Violet Voss has put out has really grabbed my attention besides this palette. So this one's going to be based all off of color story. Now, I have this Milani palette. These are the Everyday Eyes. I did have two others, but I did declutter them. So I did have another neutral one, and then I had like a darker blue one. The reason why I kept this one and got rid of the other neutral palette was because this shade in the other one was a black, and this was an actual like pure white, I believe. And I don't use black eyeshadows, so I knew that I would get more use out of this than I would that one. I still have not used this. This was something that I wanted to pan towards the end of last year. I was debating it. It was a contender for Pan That Palette this year. I decided against it, but I'm kind of iffy on how I feel about it. I don't think I would purchase another, at least one of these Everyday Eye palettes. I don't think I would purchase any more from them. I do think they came out with a couple, and I was a little like curious about them when they came out, but I never bit the bullet and bought them, and I'm kind of happy that I did. Or didn't, sorry. As for some of their other eyeshadows, like the Gilded palettes, I believe, I was just never really... I was kind of interested in them, but not enough to purchase them. And Milani, I just don't really like put Milani with eyeshadow palettes, so that is probably one of the reasons why it just slips my mind half the time. So it's not that I necessarily forget I even have this palette in my collection. I know about it, I obviously want to use it, but I just don't ever reach for it. I don't gravitate towards it, so I feel like this one is more than enough for me. Now we're gonna chat about this Pure Raw Beauty Kristi palette. This is the only pure eyeshadow that I've ever tried, and this is going to be the only pure eyeshadow that I've ever tried. I don't mind this, but the only reason I purchased it was because of Raw Beauty Kristi. I love her. I've really enjoyed these eyeshadows. Like, this one has had pan in it for quite a long time. I do enjoy the shimmers in this palette, and then this is the brights. I don't really reach for the brights. I haven't actually reached for this palette as a whole in a very long time, but I did enjoy it when I did it. But just hearing the comments about the eyeshadows from this brand just in other palettes, they're very hit and miss as well, and I just feel like this is more than enough for me. I don't really need pure in my collection. I really haven't been interested in the brand as a whole, so the only reason I bought this was because it was a Raw Beauty Kristi collab. Otherwise, I probably would have skipped over this one. Now, I have my last two, and I'm going to chat about my Glam Light Ice Cream Dream palette. I adore this thing. I haven't used it since it was in my deck of panning project, and I used it a lot. But I love this color story. I love the formula of this. I really, really did enjoy this palette. I had some of my favorite looks out of here during that time. Now, I would like to purchase another Glam Light palette for sure. There has been a couple that I've been on the edge of purchasing. One of them, I believe, is the pie palette, and then there's the donut ones. There's the neutral donut, and then there's like the colorful donut one. Those the packaging on those is kind of what's been like, not the reason why I haven't bought them, but again, it comes to pricing, exchange rate, shipping, all of that kind of deal. This was an expensive palette, but I am very happy that I bit the bullet and purchased this one because I just love it, and I'm very happy that I have it in my collection. But I don't know if I would actually, like, I do kind of want those other palettes, but I want to see what else they're going to come out with. Like, I was never interested in any of the Hershey palettes that they came out with, or even the Happy Hour palettes. Maybe, was it the Margarita, like the bright one? But again, I have this bright palette. I don't necessarily need that one. So I want to see what they come out in the future because I'm definitely curious, and I would like to try another one. That's just going to be based off of color story, or if I'm going to go with the pie palette or one of those donut palettes. And then last but not least, I have Gimme Glow. This is the Pastel Dreams palette. Now, I did throw this one in here because it is the only one in my collection at this point. But I did purchase the Coral Nightlife palette. I'm just waiting for it to arrive. I think it's finally come to town. I'm just waiting for it to arrive at my door. Yes. I loved this. I do have a lot of Gimme Glow, not a lot, but I do have Gimme Glow singles as well, and that has been growing a little bit. I have, well, technically 7, but 6. If you saw my deck of panning update, my most recent one, I put one of my Gimme Glow singles in there. Go check that out. You'll see why. But I really did like this. So when I saw that the Coral Nightlife palette was a thing, I jumped on that and I bought that one. And I really enjoyed this. I like the shimmers in here. I do like the mattes. I'm excited to try the Coral Life. But I decided to put this one in here because as of right now, it is still the only one in my collection. But this did make me purchase another one. So I had to throw it in here for that reason too. So those are all of the palettes in my collection. That I only have one of from each of the brands. So for the most part, I do feel like I would be open to purchasing more from a couple of these brands, not every one of them, but a few of them. But it's just dependent on color story for the most part. If it's something that I feel like I need in my collection or I really, really, really want for one reason or another, if I feel like it's something I'm going to actually use a lot of the time, then yes, I would possibly bring something else in. I'm happy with where my collection's at. If you saw my other videos, I do have quite a few eyeshadow palettes. I will do a collection video probably towards the end of this year. So this is a little sneak peek as to what's in my collection as of currently, but I do think I would be open to trying a few of these brands. Some of them I'm just tired of and I'm good with what I have. A few of them I would like to try a little bit more. I think Glam is kind of the one that I'm like, yes, absolutely I would. Besides Gimme Glow, because I already purchased another one. But I really do think that Glam Light is the one that I would be most open to purchasing another palette from, depending on what I'm interested at the time and what they have available. So that is it for this video. So let me know down below if you guys have any of these palettes, if any of these are just singles in your collection as well, if you would purchase any other palettes from brands that you have only one eyeshadow palette from. Let me know what those are. I'm curious to know. We'll chat about them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye.